What up, guys? IFBB Pro Morgan MacDonald here for IFBB AMA. Today, guys, we're talking about what it's like being 340 pounds as an off-season bodybuilder, or a bodybuilder in the off-season, I should say. So, yeah, this was the first off-season I hit that weight. I had hit 330 a couple times for like really short periods, like when I was like earlier in my bodybuilding career. But this off-season, I knew to get the muscle I needed to get, I had to get up to about 340 and hold it. And I did that pretty successfully. I was hanging around 335 to 340 for a good 6 months. And I think that really helped me develop some nice mature muscle. But there's a lot of sacrifices that come with being that big for that long. Number one, the food bill is absolutely ridiculous. I think I spend probably on average $300 to $400 on groceries a week, which is absurd, right? And I will say that does include some DoorDash and some skip the dishes, because when you're that big, trying to maintain that size, cheat meals are your friend, right? Cheat meals every now and then, get off the regular meal plan, get something that has a bit more caloric density to it, that's easier to get down, it helps, right? And luckily for me, being the size and how long I've been doing this, I can have these meals and not have to worry about gaining body fat and stuff like that. It just helps keep my weight up, right? So yeah, food bill. As a bodybuilder and a coach who coaches a lot of competitors, I travel a lot. Airplanes, terrible. I actually, when I walk on airplanes, I literally, as I'm walking through the aisles, I see people's like sigh of relief when I walk past them, that I'm not sitting next to them. And I don't blame them at all. And then when I do find my victim or victims that I must sit next to, I just apologize to them right away, because I'm like, I'm sorry that you're not getting 15 to 20% off for how uncomfortable that we're all going to be for the duration of this flight, because I ultimately have to take up 1/3 to 1/2 of their seat depending on the airline, and it's quite uncomfortable. I'm also 6'2", so leg room is always an issue. So I do try to book the exit seats when I can, but unfortunately for me, I'm a procrastinator. I don't book my flights till the last minute, and that shit's usually booked up. So yeah, a lot of times on airplanes these days, guys, I what do they call it? Where you just like raw dog a flight? I think that's what they say. Maybe it's something else. But you just like sit there, no music, you don't watch anything, because flights are so brutal for me. There's like nothing I can do to make it better. So a lot of times I'll just sit there in my own thoughts and just endure it, right? I guess it's like a form of meditation in a weird way, maybe. Okay, so what else sucks? Clothes. Clothes is very difficult. Luckily, online coach, bodybuilder, I can live in gym clothes, live in sweatpants and stuff like that. If I had some type of office job or something, I'm sure that would be terrible, trying to find dress clothes and things like that. Every now and then, we do go out. I probably have been wearing the same pair of jeans for the last 3 years, because they fit my legs and they're kind of stretchy. They come from like a bodybuilding brand. Big and Tall store is my friend. There's a couple around here. I actually just went to Mexico and had to find some nice outfits, so I went to the Big and Tall store. The issue with the bodybuilder, though, is that you have to buy like a 44-inch waist or 46-inch waist, and in reality my waist is like 34, 36. So you got to like strap on the belt and tighten that up so that it fits your legs. It doesn't fit the waist that well, so you need the belt, right? But essentially you kind of just have like contest prep clothes, wardrobe, and off-season wardrobe, right? So now that I'm getting into prep, I'm looking forward to breaking out, a few tank tops and stuff that are like crop tops on me right now that hopefully I can wear when I lose a few pounds. So that should be fun. Yeah, just like your daily tasks too, like, like the smallest things kind of become daunting. Like even like, all my shoes right now are like loose, like they're loosely tied, so I can just slip them on, right? Every now and then I've had to do cardio or take my dog for a walk. I'll have to like bend over and like tie up my running shoes, and it's like I gotta like hold my breath, like take a breath, go down, do it, and then like like And same thing with cutting my toenails. Like cutting my toenails is awful. I literally have this like little setup in my living room where I kind of like pin my back up against my couch and use one of the cushions to put my foot on. So I'm in this like position where I can like stay there to like clip my toenails. But again, a lot of breath holding when I'm doing that as well. I break a sweat sometimes when I do that. And sweat itself, yeah, when you're 340 pounds walking around, especially in the summer. The last summer was tough, man. I'm wearing shorts and tank top everywhere, and still just sweating my ass off, because you're eating 1,000 grams of carbs. It's 25, 30 degrees Celsius outside. Like your body is just like excreting fluid at all times, and you can't do anything about it. So you just got to get used to just like living with that. You know, understand and accept that you probably look disgusting to everybody, but you know what you're doing it for, right? And the gains are always worth it. Sex, guys, sex is a tough one. You know, sex is a tough one because you got to remember, right? The bigger you are, the bigger your engine is, the more fuel and oxygen that's required to run the engine. You know, so sex basically becomes high intensity interval training, and you need to realize like you only have so much in the tank, right? Because you're pumping, right? And you know, blood is required for the glutes and the legs to keep the pumping going. But when you're having sex, blood also needs to be somewhere else. And once you get, you know, your heart rate up a little bit too fast, you can kind of go from this to this before the job is finished. And then not only are you disappointed, but the old lady's disappointed, and that's never good. That's never good. So, you know, there are some supplements that we might dabble in, you know, to help us with that. You got to do the necessary sometimes, right? Or you have this conversation with your lady that for the next few months, things are going to be short and quick, and only one of us is going to be satisfied, and it's probably going to be me. After sex, of course, you need to sleep, right? Sleep's tough. You know, sleep's tough. I actually had to upgrade myself from a regular CPAP this off-season to a BiPAP machine, which I've made a video on this for IFBB AMA before, so check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, so essentially a CPAP only gives you, you know, 20 units of pressure. I forget the exact measurement, and the BiPAP gives you 25. So it got to the point where I kept gaining muscle and gaining weight that the maxed out number on the CPAP of 20 wasn't giving me enough pressure to open up my airways and keep the air going in while I was sleeping. So I had to invest in a BiPAP machine, which gave me that 5 extra units of pressure, which ultimately allowed me to keep actually getting real sleep. So that was a big financial investment. You know, it cost me $3,000, but had to be done. You got to sleep when you're a bodybuilder, got to recover, got to feel good. And for obvious health reasons, you know, you need to get good sleep. So that was something else. But even beyond that, just getting comfortable, right? Like, you know, my shoulders are so broad. I sleep with like literally 3 pillows in between my bed and my head, right? Just so I have like the head support that I need. I also need a pillow between my legs. I need another pillow for my arm support when I'm sleeping on my side, so I'm not like impinging my shoulders, because I started to develop shoulder issues from sleeping on my side. Being a bodybuilder is fun. Doing injections, pretty much can't do those by myself anymore, you know. I can kind of inject my glute when I got to take my shots by myself, but can't reach around to get my shoulders, can't get my lats. Don't do your quads, guys. Quad injections are bad. So a lot of people think that's an easy spot if you're a big guy, but that's not where you want to do shots. Luckily, I have a beautiful girlfriend that helps me with these things, who has a nursing degree, even better. So, but again, it's just something else you have to rely on somebody else for, right? That you can't do on your own anymore. So, you know, she's been huge help with that. And you got to be careful too, because like you don't want to be putting yourself in a position where you're trying to do an injection and you're reaching, straining something, and you're shaking, the needle's moving around in the arm or wherever it is, creating scar tissue. Like, these are all things that are funny, but it's true, right? And when you're a bodybuilder, you have to think about these things, because you don't want to get big welts and build up scar tissue in your muscle, because eventually when you stride down and get lean, you're going to be able to see that shit, and it's not going to be a good look for you, right? You know, this isn't a bad thing at all, because I understand, like, when people, anytime someone sees me in public, I'm probably the biggest person they've ever seen, right? And so people stare, and every now and then someone gets the courage to come up and ask you, how much do you bench? Or like, you know, how big are your arms? Or can they touch your arm and stuff like that? Which is kind of weird, but as long as people are nice about it and not like weird, I just get along with them, carry on with them. Like, I was just in Mexico for a week on a vacation. And again, you're going to these all-inclusive resorts, which, you know, mostly just normal people go to, right? That like to eat and drink, and they're not like necessarily into fitness and stuff. So they see a guy down there like me that is not only in shape, but like to the extremist level of physique building, is just open pro bodybuilding. They're just like, first they're intimidated, but once they get a few drinks in them, everybody wants to arm wrestle or ask how much you bench and things like that. I had to say no. I would say over 20 times to people asking to arm wrestle me, right? And they think I'm going to want to for some reason. And they probably think I'm drinking too, which I obviously don't drink, right? But like, no, I'm not going to risk my career to arm wrestle some drunk person that probably has this big ego, right? I have no ego, right? Especially to beat this person or arm wrestle. So I always just kind of tell them, I'm like, hey, listen, like, you're going to win for sure. Like, all this is for show. Like, I just do this for show. And everybody laughs and they leave me alone, which is good, right? And same thing with the bench press question. You know, that's always the one that people will ask you, how much do you bench? And I always disappoint them when I tell them I don't bench press at all, right? And they're like, oh, what? You don't bench press? Why? And then I kind of go into a little bit of how it's like a high risk injury, but I try not to go in too deep because I know they're probably not going to remember the conversation, nor do they actually care about bodybuilding itself, right? So that's a little bit of insight on what it's like to be 340 pounds. So if bodybuilding is your goal, these are the things that you have to look forward to. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys.